the Save Repayment plan will no longer be available. Borrowers who were previously enrolled in that must transition to another repayment plan. My name is George Sardakis. I'm an associate here at Vincent Hirsch Financial Services. There's been some key updates to federal student loan repayment plans, and we're going to take some time today and kind of explore what's happened since we last talked about it and what this means for all of us. Now, as of March 1st of 2026, we have seen the termination of the Saving on a Valuable Education, or the SAVE, SAVE plan, which was a student loan repayment plan which offered favorable repayment terms to its borrowers. Now, those borrowers who were enrolled in that plan, with its termination, now are required to transition to other repayment options, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of minutes. And so we're going to take some time today to explore this update as it relates to SAVE, updates regarding other repayment options and how we can explore those, and essentially the ramifications for the termination of the SAVE plan. But first, let's just overview quickly what the SAVE plan was, just so we can understand what is ending. Now, the SAVE plan offered a couple of key features. It offered an income-driven repayment structure in which payments were based on the borrower's discretionary income. Now, the SAVE also offered a higher income exemption threshold, whereby the ceiling where we can enroll in the SAVE for it to be favorable was higher than other income-based repayment options. It also featured an interest subsidy, whereby it was helping to prevent balances from growing from accumulated interest. It also offered lower payments for undergraduate loans. And it was popular because it offered lower monthly payments for many borrowers, as we just mentioned. It offered protection against negative amortization, where if we paid just the minimum on these loans, or maybe we negotiated something less than the minimum for whatever reason, we weren't negatively affected by any interest accumulation. And it also was accessible for borrowers who were deemed to have moderate income levels. So as I mentioned, as of March 1st of 2026, the SAVE Repayment plan will no longer be available, and borrowers who were previously enrolled in that repayment plan must transition to another repayment plan. And they have 90 days from July 1st, 2026 to select an alternative repayment option. And what this means is that borrowers should confirm with their loan servicers directly, as some servicers may have imposed their own administrative deadlines, just that way they can help to funnel borrowers into other plans or process paperwork requests, etc. Now, what's important to know is that we are not automatically directed into the next best thing or the next best repayment option. These are enrollments that we must actively pursue, or after the 90 days, we may be thrown into a default that is imposed by the government. Another key piece of news is that beginning on July 1 of 2026, we're going to see the introduction of the Repayment Assistance Plan, or the RAP plan, which is set to become the new alternative repayment option and is set to replace the SAVE. And it is expected to function as a replacement style income-driven repayment option for those who were previously enrolled in SAVE. And so for most borrowers who are on the SAVE plan, RAP may be one of the more relevant options to explore once the transition period begins, and therefore borrowers should review their eligibility requirements, they should review their income calculations, and the potential monthly payments that they would incur as a result of enrolling in the RAP plan. And now for those who may not find the RAP plan favorable, or maybe they're not eligible for the RAP plan, there are a few other alternative repayment options for those who were enrolled in SAVE. There's the standard 10-year repayment option, where we have the fixed monthly payments for a 10-year repayment period, and these typically offer higher payments on a monthly basis, but it does offer the fast payoff. Then you also have other income-driven repayment options that are also available to you, and you should contact your servicers, as they may have more information regarding that. And so those income-based repayment options are tied to income level, and there are also potential long-term forgiveness options that we may be eligible for should we pursue those as well. And again, we should contact our servicers regarding those. One key piece of information to consider is that different payment plans will calculate payments differently, which can significantly affect both monthly obligations and the long-term repayment costs that are associated in whatever route we decide to choose. What is the overall impact on the monthly payments? Possible outcomes regarding monthly payments may include a higher payment on a monthly basis compared to Save, or different treatment of interest. So where Save may have offered favorable interest treatment, we may not get that same leeway or that same precedent with other repayment options. And there may also be changes to forgiveness timelines as well. Some may be longer, some may be shorter than Save was. And so the key takeaway here is that some borrowers may find similar payment levels under other income-driven repayment plans, and those are items and those are considerations that we should explore when we are looking at those different options. And so the impact will vary from person to person. It'll vary based on income, it'll vary based on loan balance, it'll vary based on the option that we select. So we should take some careful consideration when it comes to exploring these other options. Regarding PSLF, now PSLF eligibility is still heavily and primarily dependent upon qualifying federal loans, qualifying repayment plans, and qualifying public service employment. And as of this recording, we haven't had any updates regarding PSLF or any major changes that are associated therein. However, borrowers who are continuing to pursue PSLF should make sure that they're enrolled in an eligible repayment plan during this transition period to make sure that we maintain that eligibility. Now, there are some common mistakes that borrowers should avoid during this time, such as waiting too long. We want to make sure that we don't miss that 90-day transition window, which begins on July 1st, because we may be defaulted into whatever repayment plan is earmarked by the federal government. Another mistake is not confirming information with servicers. So it may be the case that some servicers may have their own timelines or administrative requirements in addition to the 90-day window from July 1st. We also shouldn't assume that our payments are going to be the same. Different payment plans have different monthly payments, have different installment periods, and we want to make sure that we're kept abreast on each of those repayment plans and what the monthly outflow is going to be that's associated with each of them. We want to make sure that we're evaluating every option that's associated with the plans that are available to us. We want to make sure that we have the best strategy for the long term and not just looking at what the lowest monthly payment is going to be. What should our next steps be as borrowers? Well, there are 6 that come to mind. We want to confirm whether or not we were previously enrolled in Save or currently enrolled in Save. We want to make sure that we are reviewing that July 1 deadline in the transition window. We want to confirm with and contact our loan servicer to confirm that they don't have any additional timelines in addition to that. We want to evaluate different repayment options and compare, including the new RAP program. We want to estimate these monthly payments and compare them under different plans. And we also want to make sure that we're submitting that re-enrollment during that 90-day window so we don't miss the boat on that and we get defaulted into something else. And when we take a step back, we want to make sure that we consider the student loans and we want to make sure that we're considering our repayment options within our broader financial context. So we should consider how our loan payments are going to affect our cash flow. We want to make sure that we're balancing repayment with different saving mechanisms, different financial goals, as well as other debt obligations that we may have outstanding, and making sure that we're prepared for when these payments start up again and the additional monthly costs that may be associated. And so in closing, the termination of the Save plan does create an important transition for borrowers. The 90-day window starting on July 1 will be critical when it comes to enrolling in additional plans, and the introduction of this new RAP plan may serve as a key alternative option for those of us who were enrolled in Save. And borrowers should also confirm timelines with the servicers in case they have their own imposed deadlines in addition to the 90-day transition window. And with all of that, Thank you all so much for watching. I understand that this is something that is very stressful and everyone has a lot of questions about. So please don't hesitate. Feel free to put a comment below, and thank you so much for watching.